Secret of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker. Mastering the Inner Game of Wealth, Secret of the Millionaire Mind. Wealth pile number 1. Rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life happened to me. If you want to create wealth, it's imperative that you believe that you are at the steering wheel of your life, especially your financial life. If you don't believe this, then you must inherently believe that you have little or no control over your life. And therefore, you have little or no control over your financial success. This is not a rich attitude. Did you ever notice that it's usually for people who spend a fortune playing the lottery? They actually believe their wealth is going to come from someone picking their name out of a hat. They spend Saturday night glued to the TV, excitedly watching the draw to see if wealth is going to land on them this week. Sure, everyone wants to win the lottery, and even rich people play for fun once in a while, but first, they don't spend half their paycheck on ticket, and second, winning the lotto is not their primary strategy for creating wealth. You have to believe that you are the one who creates your success. Then you are the one who creates your mediocrity, and you are the one creating your struggle around money and success. Curiously or consciously or unconsciously, it's still you. Instead of taking responsibility for what's going on in their lives, poor people choose to play the role of the victim. The victim's predominant thought is often poor me. So presto, the virtue of the law of intention, that's literally what victims get. They got to be poor. Notice that I said they play the role of the victim. I didn't say they are victims. I don't believe anyone is a victim. I believe people play the victim because they think it gets them something. We'll discuss this in more detail shortly. That said, how can you tell when people are playing the victim? They leave 3 obvious clues. Now, before we talk about these clues, I want you to realize that I fully understand that none of these ways of being has anything to do with anyone reading this book. But maybe, just maybe, you might know someone who can relate. And maybe, just maybe, you might know that person intimately. Either way, I suggest you pay close attention to this section. Victim clue number 1. Blame. When it comes to why they are not rich, most victims are professional at the blame game. The object of this game is to see how many people and circumstances you can point the finger at without ever looking at yourself. It's fun for victims at least. Unfortunately, it's not such a blast for anyone else who is unlucky enough to be around them. That's because those in close proximity to victims become easy targets. Victims blame the economy, they blame the government, they blame the stock market, they blame their broker, they blame their type of business, they blame their employer, they blame their employees, they blame their manager, they blame the head office, they blame their upline and their downline. They blame customer service, they blame the shipping department, they blame their partner, they blame their spouse, they blame God. And of course, they always blame their parents. It's always someone else or something else that is to blame. The problem is anything or anyone but them. Victim clue number 2. Victim clue number 2. Justify. If victims aren't blaming, we will find them justifying or rationalizing their situation by saying something like money is not really important. Let me ask you this question. If we said that your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your partner or your friend weren't all that important, would any of them be around for long? I don't think so. And neither would money. In my life seminars, some participants always come up to me and say, "You look happy, money is not really that important." I look them directly in the eyes and say, "You are broke, right?" They usually look down at their feet and meekly reply with something like, "Well, right now I am having a few financial challenges," but I interrupt. "No, it's not just right now. It's always. You have always been broke or close to it. Yes or yes." At this point, they usually nod their head in agreement and hopefully return to their seat, ready to listen and learn. And they finally arise for a disastrous effect this one belief have had on their lives. Of course they are broke. Would you have a motorcycle if it wasn't important to you? Of course not. Would you have a pet parrot if it wasn't important to you? Of course not. In the same way, if you don't think money is important, you simply won't have any. You can actually dazzle your friend with this insight. Imagine you are in a conversation with a friend who tells you, "Money is not important." Put your hand on your forehead and look up as though you are sending a message from the heavens. Then exclaim, "You are broke," to which your shocked friend will undoubtedly respond, "How did you know?" Then you stretch on your palm and you reply, "Well, what else do you want to know?" "That'll be $50, please." Let me put it bluntly. Anyone who says money isn't important doesn't have any. Rich people understand the importance of money and the place it has in our society. On the other hand, poor people validate their financial ineptitude by using irrelevant comparison. They'll argue, "Well, money isn't as important as your love." Now, is that comparison dumb or what? What's more important, your arm or your leg? Maybe they are both important. Listen up, my friend. Money is extremely important in the area in which it works, and extremely unimportant in the area in which it doesn't. And although love may make the world go round, it sure doesn't pay for the building of any hospital, church, or home. It also doesn't feed anybody. Wealth principle. Money is extremely important in the area in which it works, and extremely unimportant in the area in which it doesn't. Not convinced? Try paying your bills with love. Still not sure? Then power on over the bank and try depositing some love and see what happens. I'll save you the trouble. The teller will look at you as if you are just gone an hour from the loony bin and scream only one word, "Security!" Knowledge people believe money is not important, and if I've failed to persuade you and you will somehow believe that the money is not important, then I have only two words for you, broke. You are broke. And you always will be until you eradicate that non-supportive file from your financial blueprint. Victim clue number 3. Complaining. Complaining is the absolute worst possible things you could do for your health or your wealth. The worst. Why? I'm a big believer in the universal law that states when you focus on expense,